So first and foremost, right, the most important thing is to go to your settings, hotkeys, player movement, and make sure you have both attack move click and attack move on. So what does attack move click do, right? If you do a normal right click like this, you can see that on the ground it's blue color, right? It means that you input a movement command. So what happens if this enemy is chasing me, right? I'm trying to run away here, but I want to auto attack. I want to kite back, right? But instead of auto attacking, I accidentally click on the ground beside him. What will happen is I'll move towards the enemy, right? Instead of moving back. So the attack move click is basically to prevent that. When you A click, you basically will attack the closest enemy to you. So even if I click, let's say, on the ground beside him, I'll still attack the enemy instead of walking towards him. I'll still attack the enemy, no matter where I click. Right? Attack move, which I bound to X. When I use it, it basically show you the range of my champion. Like that. So when I use this and I left click on the enemy, I will hit him. Like that. So some people prefer attack move click, some people prefer attack move, but I prefer attack move click because after a while you get used to a champion's range, so you don't really need it. And it's one less input, you do the left click, like that. You can just straight away attack move like that. One thing you want to have on with the attack move is this attack move on cursor. So what it means is, let me show you. So let's say you want to attack the back enemy, right? If I don't have it on, and I want to attack the back enemy only, let's say this is low, or let's say this is a priority target, right? I want to attack this, and I attack move, I will instead click on the closest enemy to me. So you see, if I attack no matter where I click nearest to the enemy, I'll just only attack the one closest to me. See? So if you turn this on, I can specify which target I want to attack, right? So if I attack move this one, even if this is closest to me, I can still attack move this. Yeah. Another setting that's important is under ability and summon spells. Target champions only, right? So you can set it to tilde, which is what I prefer. When I press on it, it turns my cursor red. So that's how you know it's on. Basically, it allows you to attack champions only. It doesn't matter where you click. You're only able to attack champions. So let me show you an example. And let's say I want to attack the enemy only, right? I don't want to click on the minion. When I right click on the minions, I can't attack it at all. Right? I can't accidentally auto a minion. But I can auto an enemy like that. I can't click on the minion. So it prevents error basically when I want to hit an enemy but I don't want to hit the minions beside it. This also is useful when, let's say, the enemy is behind the tower and I don't have this on, right? It's hard to hit behind, right? I'm trying to hit behind, but I only can hit the tower. So if I turn it on, I can hit the enemy only. I can't hit the tower. I can't hit the minions as well. I only can hit him. So this is useful in both these examples. And one thing you want to make sure it's on is when you go to game, you want to click this on, right? Treat target champions only as a toggle. So I only have to click it once, like that. I can leave it on for however long I want, right? And if you don't have this on, basically you have to hold it to make sure it's on, which is not very comfortable. You rather have it as a toggle like that. So you see, I don't have to worry about hitting minions. I can just auto him. But one thing you need to take note is it does not work with attack move, right? Otherwise it will be so broken. I can just leave it on and just press attack move and attack wherever I want. I'll be just a kiting machine. So you can't use attack move with this. Attack move will still attack minions even if you have this on. You'll still attack minions. See? You still attack minions. So we're just gonna take a look at a game by T1 Gumayusi. He's playing Ezreal Braum against Kaisa Leona. This is just a solo queue game. It's not pro player or anything. So now that the Minion wave has come in, you can see that Braum tries to step into this bush and hover around this bush. It's basically to gain pressure to let the enemy know that, you know, I can be looking for engage anytime, or I can look to on you or I can look to poke you at any time, but you don't know where I am, right? I can be here, I can be right in front of here. You don't know where. That's why you can see the Kai'Sa is basically trying to stay the furthest away as he can from the bush. He doesn't know what the Braum is trying to do. So most supports would want to try to gain control of this middle bush. This middle bush is very important. Now you can see that the Braum backed off and the Leona went into this bush, right? So now you can see that from Ezreal standing here, he has to stand here. He knows that he has to be careful of engage lah. You can see the enemy Leona just popping his head in and out. It's like to create somewhat of a pressure to let him know, hey, I can attack you anytime, you know. Just a small thing that I want to point out is when he looks for a kill on Kai'Sa, or just in general an enemy, right? He makes sure that his Q always hits something, because Ezreal Q, how it works is if you hit a target with Q, it doesn't matter it's a minion or champion, it basically refunds part of his cooldown, right? So you can see he tries to aim for the Kai'Sa, but even though he missed, he still hits a minion, right? And then his Q cooldown gets shortened. So it doesn't matter that he missed. I mean, it doesn't matter too much that he missed on Kai'Sa, because see, he gets his Q back, and it doesn't matter too much. And now you want to take a look at the minion wave, right? This is the second minion wave that come in. The moment the second wave, 3 million minions die, you are going to get level 2. So the moment that the Ezreal recognizes that, look, they only have 1 melee minion left, that before they reach level 2, right, he's gonna back off immediately. Because why? You can see that the moment they hit level 2, Leona just engages in. They don't care. They don't care whether they take a lot of damage. It's just gonna win no matter what, because they have double the abilities of yourself. So they're just gonna go in no matter what. It's basically the level 2 advantage. So you can see again it happens. So he's looking for Q on Kai'Sa, right? He tries to hit it, and he does hit it in this time. But if he didn't, right, it will hit the back minion instead. And he'll still get his cooldown back, so it doesn't really matter. And this time he actually hits it, so it's a bonus. Okay, look, you see the moment they kill the enemy through a gang, right? He hits some of these minions, and then he pings him off. He pings off to let him know that he's trying to freeze this wave in. What he's trying to do is basically to maintain the position of the minions, so that he can farm safely when he comes back. And it's basically a very good position for them. They can farm safely near under tower, and then the Kai'Sa and Leona have to step up into this area where they're going to be vulnerable to ganks. So he pings him off, right? He doesn't want to hit the minions. He wants to maintain this state. But you can see the moment the Kai'Sa steps in, he stops his recall very quickly. He almost went back to base, but the more he saw him, he just stops. And why is this? Because the Kai'Sa saw that the Ezreal was recalling, and he knows that if he recalls, he has the chance to push this wave into the tower, so that the wave bounces back. If you see the minimap, it bounces back around here, where Kai'Sa is now in a good position to farm. So now Kai'Sa wanted to push this in. He thought Ezreal would recall already, but Ezreal managed to stop his recall. And now Kai'Sa is stuck here. Kai'Sa can push this in. Ezreal has a good wave state. He can just farm safely. You can see the Kai'Sa can't really do anything. And now they're just trying to deny him XP from the minions that are dying. Okay, can you see that when he's at a disadvantage, right? Because he's very low, the Leona can engage at him anytime. The Kai'Sa is high HP than him, and he doesn't have E currently, right? So right now, you can see that when he uses this attack move, you can see he sees his range, and he wants to be just barely outside his range when he auto attacks the minion. He doesn't want to go any closer to the minions or the enemy as much as he can. So he just barely tries and get autos in like that. Then he backs off when he wants. He can see that he can get an auto in. Then he comes in and just autos, and then he gets out. So like, it's basically a little dance between you and the enemy, where you're going to stay out of their range as thinly as possible, right? But you know that you're safe. They can't do anything because you're just outside their range, and you're just in range to hit the minions. Right now, if you see his positioning, the Leona he can just barely hit his E. Right? The E range around here, he can't hit the E unless he has fresh, but he doesn't. So he can't hit the E. Kai'Sa is not in the position to engage. Can you see that? It just happened. He just barely outside the range. He knows the Leona E range. Leona tries to E him. He managed to dodge it like that. Just outside, just barely outside his range. It's basically knowing like what's your range and what's the enemy's range, where there's this little sweet spot that you can step in where basically you're not in danger and you can hit the minions. And this is another this is a good usage of flash, where this Leona is in little range already, right? Little range basically means that uh he's in range of being killed, right? So he knows that Leona's gonna die, and then Leona engages in with a E, catches Ezreal. And why does he flash her? Right? Why does he flash her? Even though Leona's already dead, he knows he's gonna die. But why does he flash her? It's because of Kai'Sa. So the only way that they can trade a kill, right? You see, can you see Leona is basically he knows that he's in range of dying, but he knows that Ezreal or Braum are also in range of dying. So he takes a gamble, he goes in, engages on Ezreal, but can you see that he flashes this so that Kai'Sa can't auto attack? So basically they get a free kill and Kai'Sa can't auto attack the Ezreal, and they get basically a good trade. They couldn't trade anything back basically. So unfortunately they get ganked by Ude here and they die. But when Ezreal comes back to lane, because Kai'Sa pushed into his tower, right? But he didn't push in fast enough. So when Ezreal come back, he gets the minions. He gets both the gold and the XP. So he doesn't lose out too much. So it's considered a somewhat okay death. You still get the minions even though you die. So it's really it's okay. What is a bad death, right? A bad death is when you die and you basically lose a bunch of minions, like a huge minion wave that's pushing a tower. That's basically XP and gold lost, just lost. Your team doesn't have it. It goes into oblivion, right? So you don't get XP, you don't get the gold. And yeah, that's just a bad death. Get killed and you lose the minions. And when the enemy minions wave come in, right, can you see it's in a good wave state for him? He can play it safe, right? Even if Gage can just eat away into tower range or what. So this is a good wave state for him, which is why he's doing right now. He hasn't been outdoing the minions. He just wants to last hit them. So as the wave pushes in, right, you can see that they know that there's definitely gonna crash in the tower, but what they don't want to let the Kai'Sa and Liana do is to freeze it. They don't want the minions to stay in this area, right? They want to make sure it pushes in the tower here. They don't want to let it stay here because they're gonna be a vulnerable position to ganks, and they are just basically playing too safe. They can just stay on the tower or in tower range. Make sure it crashes in. That's why they step up earlier. It's just to let them know, like, back off. I'm gonna push this in. And now that all the minions have died, the Leona can look for engage now, right? Because can you see that the minions are staying right here? It's gonna hover around right here before it crashes in again. But one thing Ezreal does is he makes sure he's always outside of Leona's range. The only way that he dies now, except for gang, right, is Leona's E or Flash Q or whatever. So he makes sure he stays out of their range. When the Leona moves back, he moves in. When the Leona moves towards him, he moves back. He always stays out of this range, this E range. You see, it's like a little dance, like between him and the Leona. So Leona looks forward, he moves back. He moves back, he moves forward. He moves towards Ezreal, he moves back. It's basically just to stay barely outside of his range. So Braum mods up. He gets flashed eat by Leona. Udia is here as well. Braum goes to Ezreal, gets a kill. So let's say you're playing Ezreal here, right? And you feel very scared because there's a Udyr and a Kai'Sa on you. Braum is not able to follow up with you. So most Ezreals will just eat away right here, right? But you must basically know your fairy limit. What was your max limit you can go to? So can you see that 2v2 here, Braum is not able to fight. He's still autoing. He's still trying to fight as much as possible. But he cleanses here. And the moment he gets into little range, right? The moment he knows, oh, I'm out, man. Then he uses E. He doesn't use his E too early. He doesn't use this when he feels, I don't feel safe. I just E out. He makes sure that he uses E at the most critical moment. So he E's out. Can you see why the Kaisa is so confident here? He's so confident in 1v2 in situation right here. Why is because Ezreal, he's low. And not just because he's low in almost lethal range, I would say. By affecting Braum is a different story, but Ezreal himself is almost in lethal range. If Kai'Sa gets a, let's say a W ulti Q, he's basically dead already. But with Braum is a different thing. So I would say he's almost in lethal range. That's why Kai'Sa is so confident to step up, right? Kai'Sa is confident to 1v2 either of them. And you must expect that the Leona is basically walking until you just so Kai'Sa, you can see his movement that she's really very confident. Why? Because he knows that Leona is coming to back her up. So even if right here it's a 1v2, Braum tries to go in and engage on Kai'Sa, they maybe could get a kill, maybe if he managed to hit all this stuff. But Kai'Sa is so confident and he knows that something is not right. Why is he so confident? Because Leona could be right behind her. So even if Braum goes in, engages on here, they'll be stuck here, basically. Leona can then follow up, gank his own lane, kill the Braum, and yeah. So he knows not to. You can see his Kai'Sa's positioning and mindset. See right here, Ezreal ultis the wave. It's just to make sure he gets the push in. If I'm Ezreal, I would want to back. So because of all this goal I have, so I ulti the wave. I try and clear the wave as fast as possible. Try and hit as many kills as can to refresh the cooldown of my ulti. Yep. And I just want to make sure the wave goes in so I can back and recall, get my item, and come back. If he doesn't ulti right there, if he doesn't ulti here, it will take much longer for him to clear the wave. So right here, the Braum gets engaged on in river and dies. And Ezreal knows that. He tries and get as many minions as he can before they move down into lane. This is like a 1v2 situation, right? You're gonna have to play the range very precisely. So he knows that Leona can be looking for an engage here. So he plays very carefully. So as Leona, he's not sure, he wards. Okay, Leona's still looking for engage. But he stays just outside of the engage range. But because it's Asher, right, he can still last hit or poke with his Q. So it doesn't matter too much lah. He pushes the wave in, and Leona is up here. He's looking for engage. So right here, Leona is looking for engage. He's almost in E range. Right here he is because this is in E range already, and he knows that, right? So he instead of just walking straight, he tries and sidesteps and then he dodges it. So now they're just okay. Before he flashes in, right? Before the Leona flashes in, he dodges this, and he's free to hit anyone now, right? Who can kill him? They can't do anything. Kai'Sa can auto attack, but he can auto attack as well. Leona has to walk up into his face and kill him. The only way that they can still follow up this engage is with a flash kill by Leona. So actually, it's free to hit anyone until he gets flashed on, right? But he cleanses. So another example of tethering is the right here. You can see that Udyr is here. They're looking for an engage. Leona is looking. Leona steps up. He walks away. But of course, Braum gets hit by it. That's fine. You should know that Ezreal is not just a use Q skill champion. He's a lot of his damage comes from his auto attack as well, especially when it's fully stacked. His passive is fully stacked here. You can see his stacks 3, 4. So you can see that he in between his Qs, right? He makes sure he auto weaves a lot. He weaves in his auto attacks as much as he can in between his Qs and his abilities. So he is first thing you do is auto, right? Even though he has his Q up, first thing you do is auto. Q, W, auto, Q. See, he's still autoing here. He's not trying to hit his Q, right? Because he's behind minions, but yeah. Auto, E, Q. So important to know is on a champion like Ezreal, you have to basically maximize your damage by weaving in your autos in between your abilities. It's very important. If you only use your Q or your W for damage, your damage output is gonna be quite little. So here, Leona is alive. Ezreal is under the enemy tower. And you can see that he's still tethering within the Leona range. He knows what can he play around with. You can see that he knows that Leona is looking for an E, so he stays outside. The moment he is in, Ezreal is away, right? Because he knows that in this range, he's gonna get hit by his E. So Leona walks up. This is E range already. This is E range. So he knows that. So he is away. So they get the inhib. They're trying to siege the tower right here. And they're here, right? The enemy team is here. They're trying to look for engage, especially on Ezreal, because right now he's quite fat and he's the carry. So here, Leona steps up, and Ezreal because he's trying to attack the tower, right? So he's in range of Leona E. He gets it, but this time he does it too slow. He gets tagged on, or maybe it was intentional. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he tried to bait the Leona in or what. But right here, he is way too slow. So the Leona E follows him through Ezreal's E, and then but it's fine because Ezreal has cleanse, so it's fine. And why does Ezreal flash here, right? Even though he's full health, why does he flash away? He has cleanse, right? Right? Why he should be fine here, right? But no, because he knows that the enemy are looking for him. He stun here, cleanse. He's fine, right? Even though he gets already outed, but he's still full health, and Leona has used his abilities really. But why does he flash away? Because he was in danger of Udyr walking up and stunning him, which Udyr was looking for it. You can see his movement here. Flash, and Udyr comes in wanting to stun Ezreal, but he flashed away. So it's not about sometimes it's not about flashing at the very last moment, but sometimes it's just preventing damage in the first place. So one thing you can do with Ezreal's E is to buff it. So buffing basically means that even though you get stunned, your character still follows up with the E, and you can do it consistently, but it's quite hard to do it if you miss the timing. So you can see that Udyr is looking to follow up on Ezreal here. Udyr flashes, stuns him, but even though he stuns him, the E animation is still follow up, so he manages to E out. And you see he's still stunned all the way. Actually, you can see that he's stunned, but he still E's. So it's called buffering basically. You can do this with other stuff as well, like Blitzcrank Hook. So basically, especially like a champion like Ezreal, right? Your primary mode is to be as annoying as possible. Is because Ezreal has a dash as well, right? So he can stay very much outside of the enemy range. He can basically just barely be outside of their engage and just barely get caught. You can see even throughout this team fight, he tries and weaves in his auto as much as possible. If you're just starting out playing Ezreal, you're just gonna try and hit all your Qs and Ws, but important is to hit your autos as much as possible, especially with your passive stack. Yeah, that's it.